Sometimes it's a lot easier to actually get a fan base than it is to maintain one. A lot of artists have like what I like to call a sudden surge. So they release a track or an album and it does really well and it goes way, and then later on it just kind of goes trickles back down again. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to maintain that wayness and stay up there. So as a bit of a side note before I get into the meat of this video, next week we are going to do a bit of a Q&A about any misconceptions that you might have about what it's like to work in the music industry. So me and Lenny have worked at a record label for pretty much 4 years now, and during that time we've kind of learned how the industry works, and it is vastly different to what we expected it would be like. So if any of you have any questions about how the industry works, just let us know and we will answer those in our next video. So today I'm going to give you 5 tips about how to maintain your fan base. Tip number 1 is by far the easiest, and it is quite simply, give stuff away. If you have a song coming out, give it away for free. If you have some merch coming up that hasn't cost you that much money, just give it to people. It's far better for you as an artist to have people wandering around wearing your t-shirts and being a little bit miffed about losing 100 quid than it is to keep hold of that 100 quid and have people walking around in their t-shirts. What this does, it just kind of gives you free promotion, and because people are going to be wearing your t-shirt that you've given them for free, it is endearing them to you. This could also apply to things like CDs and any other merch that you might have. Just give them to people, because people are far likely to accept something when they don't have to pay money for it, in case you didn't know.
And they may be more likely to buy merch in the future because they now know your kind of seal of quality.
Yeah, it's really hard to make a good first impression, so if your first impression is that you give stuff away for free and they like that stuff that you've given them, they are far more likely to buy your merch in the future.
It's like the idea of giving sample products in like supermarkets. It just kind of tied you over the, well, will it be any good?
Yeah, something that you might not do initially, but because it's free, you do it anyway.
And then you're in. You're already through the door.
Tip number 2. Play private shows. This could be where it could start to get a little bit more pretentious, so you have to be really careful about how you do this. You don't want to bill yourselves as the exclusive band that never plays open gigs. They're a members-only club. The only way that you can see this band is if you get an invite to see them. Maybe just once in a while for one of your superfans, go and play at their house. Invite people to come and see you at like practices or whatever. Play intimate gigs in places that gigs normally wouldn't take place, and just invite people to come along and film it, because then you've got extra content and you're making fans like respect you more because
you're doing shit for them. It's not a show that, well, you can come on to this if you want, but we're going to do it anyway. It's like, oh, we want you to be involved with this because this is for you.
Exactly. Tip number 3. Get fans' input on your music. This kind of ties into point 5, which obviously I'll talk about later, but the most important thing for you as a band is to be impressing your fans. And the way to do this is to write music that your fans like. There's no point writing music for the media or for radio thinking, oh yeah, we'll write a song, it'll get on BBC Introducing, it'll do really well. It might do really well on BBC Introducing, but people might not actually like it. There's not really much point having loads of backing and loads of people raving about you when no one is actually listening to your music on a regular basis, and the only way to get people to listen to your music on a regular basis is to write songs that people like. So a way of doing this would be maybe create like exclusive groups on social media where you post your demos and invite people to comment on them. Things like that. Invite people to come to your songwriting sessions and see what they think of the songs that you're writing.
Mailing list is quite a common way of doing this as well.
However, a mailing list can be more broad. I was thinking more your superfans that are really going to push you and spread your name more.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, it could work for your general fans as well. But I mean, ideally, all your fans will be on your mailing list. And I don't think this is something that you want to be doing with all your fans, because you might get a lot of conflicting, and then you might divide your fan base, which is not what you want. Tip number 4, give exclusive things to your superfans. What I mean by this is, if you have a limited edition CD or t-shirt that's coming out, give some of them to the people who are most likely to push your name and most likely to appreciate it. You have a track coming out in a month, maybe create a private link to that somewhere and just give it to the people who would appreciate it the most, the people who have been pushing your band and loving your band and telling you that they really love your band the most. Just give it to them as a kind of a thank you for always being there and supporting you.
There's kind of a side to that. You could actually do it so that if you're selling merch on a store, you give them a song for free upon purchase, because that kind of solidifies who your superfans are, because they're buying merch, and then you give them something free on top of that.
Tip number 5. This is a weird one because it's something that you can either choose to do or not choose to do. There isn't really a middle ground with this one. Sometimes it's more important to impress your fans than it is to impress the media. As I said earlier, if you've got all the media backing in the world, you've got MTV and MTV don't know fucking music anymore. If you've got BBC and, I don't know, Kerrang, like, really champion you and you're saying, oh, you're really good, some people might like you, but a lot of the time the music that these people push, they only push it because it's currently fashionable to push. It's far more important for you as an artist to have fans that listen to your music on a regular basis than it is to have BBC playing your song every so often. Because the BBC might really like your song and be saying, oh yeah, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. But if people really, really like your music, then they are going to listen to it, and in them listening to it, they're going to love it more, and that is how superfans develop. This whole thing is a process of developing people from casual listeners to fans to superfans. And when you've got your entire audience as superfans because you've treated them so well, and you've given them all this free shit, and you've invited them into your community like this, that's when you're going to do really well as an artist. So as a kind of concluding point to this video, as a bit of a word of warning, if you are going to try and maintain your career in this style, is don't overdo it. And there's 2 ways that you can overdo it. You can bill yourself as one of those bands that only ever does exclusive things and never gets involved in anything because you're far too pretentious and people don't want that. Or, in doing this, you can devalue your music because you're always giving it away for free. You're inviting people to come to your practice all the time that people don't want to do. And you just you're giving away too much of yourself. Like, it's like you're wearing too revealing clothing. You have to leave something up to the imagination. So I would advise you to try everything that I have said in this video, but try it in moderation. Some of it will work for you, some of it won't. Find what works for you and do that, and don't do the bits that don't work, obviously. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more videos from this series, then click on that side. And if you want to see our best of playlist, click over there. Yeah, also don't forget to submit your questions about what it is like to work in the music industry, because we will be more than happy to let you know. Have a good day.
Bye.